Ôi, bố ban lều kìa. Mà con tí chi với quay sang nói là bắt đầu múa rồi đấy.
Some fairy tales are true. Most of their stories we make up to help us deal with real life. It all depends on your point of view. But here are the facts. There was once a princess who lived in a castle high above the streets of an enchanted kingdom. The king and queen were long gone, but they left her with their treasure so that she could stay a princess forever. On the eve of her 22nd birthday, a great celebration was planned. Molly's machines make your peace. I have learned to be in the world and of the world. And I most definitely can say I am in the world, but I most certainly am not of it. My constant need and search to pursue the greatest dance of all, contentment. Because the truth is, the contentment is never found in success or the money, but rather in the secret place when it was just me and God. My story begins 2 years ago, 2023, when I began this project to pursue contentment. So come along with me as I pack my bags and get rid of everything I own, sell all of my stuff, with a cat on my back and point shoes in my hands. Come on tour with me. It might be a little messy, but it's my beautiful mess. Just the way I like it. Let's take it back to 2023. In Paris. I have lived in almost every arrondissement of Paris. I think I still have 2 more to go. But for the most part, I've lived in almost every district, and I can say I really enjoyed it. Now, that also means that I've probably spent only like maybe a month here or there in a hostel, or a couple days in a hotel, or an Airbnb, or I rented an apartment. By whatever means, I have lived in almost every arrondissement of Paris. And I'm going to start out with this apartment just because it's worthy of its place, and it was the first apartment that I rented in Paris on my own. I first moved into this apartment that literally, and when I say literally, the bed came out of the wall.
The bedroom. It's got potential.
Not much, kids, but this was my home. And I called it the asbestos apartment because it was literally nothing but tarps and asbestos, because there was asbestos in the walls and they were fixing my balcony. Okay, anyways, hello, good morning from the balcony. So, just an update on the situation. Whenever the workers leave, I crawl out here. Is it unsafe? Well, it might be. Does it prevent me from climbing out on it like a child? No, it doesn't. Anyway, so that's really fun. There ain't enough smooth jazz to cover this shiz. I lived in this apartment for 3 months total in the summer of 2023, and then I moved into my next apartment, which looked like this. So I sold all of my things.
Okay, it seemed inviting, trust me, she's a titan. This week she like him, next week they fight. Need protection, now you dress.
Wow, you're
Stay with me, girl.
funny.
Where the hell you from?
It's my shower. Here's my kitchen. It's very dark. That's my bed where I sleep. That's where Presley's litter box goes. It's on top of the refrigerator that I helped a man carry up 6 flights of stairs. The microwave, but the only plug and outlet is here, so you have to drag the thing all the way over here to plug the microwave in and actually use it. My table, which, you know, actually that is very cute looking, and then the ladder to get up, and that's it. My shoes and the keys, and this door doesn't really lock, so that's safe. Also, the handle comes off the door, but you know, that's just the normal thing. So okay, so it's official. I'm living out of a suitcase, traveling around with a cat on my back, and I've sold everything that I have besides one painting that my best friend Lewis gave me. It's survived every move since. But other than that, yeah, now I just got to figure out how to pay the bills.
Focus. For 1 second. Your electric has been canceled, and so has your gas. Who pays your bills? Bob.
And since Bob isn't paying my bills, looks like I'm gonna have to figure something else out, like get a job. So, and then I started my babysitting job, which looked a little something like this.
Hi! Oh my god. You're my new nanny? Hi, Lorraine. It's Ray.
No, really, it was actually kind of fun. And then I would go and take ballet class in the evenings. It opened my eyes to a whole other side of life that I'd never seen before. And I definitely learned patience and how to just be crazy because, you know, I love life. I love being silly. And I think life is really about being silly. And this little girl that I had been nannying for so long, and she really taught me that life is just one big fun house. And you know what? Every day is Red Nose Day, baby. Okay, how does this look? Bug's Life.
Here I go, for the colony, and for oppressed ants everywhere!
Hi. So I want to just come on here and chat a little bit, talk to y'all, because I love chatting with you guys and just laying it all out here and spilling the broth. So I'm going to spill the broth on a little topic that comes up frequently. Many people wonder, hey, what do ballerinas really make? Or what do dancers or creative people live on? So I'm going to answer that question here. Being a dancer, truthfully, freelance dancer, nonetheless, I do not just solely live off of my freelance wage and salary. Let's get down to business. I am not just working and dancing and doing shows and performing. When I am not dancing, I am working 3 other jobs. Yes, 3 other 2 full-time jobs and 1 part-time job. So and how I do this and how I make it work is I actually do pet sitting. And I'm a dog walker. So I walk dogs and pet sit for people here in Paris. And this is how I'm able to live in a city like Paris, because otherwise I would not be able to pay rent. And for the moment, I'm all over the place, and yes, just going back and forth doing things. But yeah. So basically, when I'm not taking class and rehearsing or going on tour, I am working as a pet sitter. So some of the tours that I've done or I currently do, there may be like a month long or 3 months long, which is not that bad. Like, that's not long, you know, and you're just performing and coming back and performing and coming back to your home. So it allows me to have another job. So I do that every single day. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I teach English to a separate student, and then I go to the gym, give myself class, and do all of those things, or prepare variations for tour. And I do that through the springtime into the early summertime until school ends, and then I go on tour during the end of summer, winter time. So that's my daily schedule. And then when I come home from tour, I obviously live off of some of that salary that I've made, but that's not always a lot. So then I pet sit and dog sit when I need to. That is kind of what I do. It's called the second shift, and that's how I earn some extra money, because I'm kind of just settling into a new era. And in the next couple of vlogs that you'll see, I'm gonna kind of explain what I did and how I lived for basically 2 years of my life. It's kind of chaotic, kind of crazy, but I basically lived on the road for many months at a time. I would come back to Paris, live in a hostel or live in a hotel, and then go back on the road, live in a bus, and live in hotels. And I did that for many months at a time. Like, I'm talking 5 months, come back for 2 weeks, another 5 months. Like, I lived on tour for 2 years straight. And just now this year, I had some exciting things happening, but I kind of wanted just to share a little insight into what it's really like, and the exploitation that happens in the dance world is absolutely crazy for dancers. And I think nowadays it should be getting better, because we do have social media and we do have these technologies where we're able to almost self-promote. And this, I think, is going to save the dance world and change the world for artists and as individuals, because we're able to put ourselves out there. And I don't know, I feel like it's bizarre in a way, because when I was growing up, like, I was taught in, like in my tiny little ballet school, like, that is honestly, I'm so grateful to my teachers for bringing me up this way. But like, you don't just have to be a good dancer, but you have to be beautiful, you have to be charismatic, you have to really be a hard worker and a smart worker, not just a hard worker, but a smart worker. And I'm so blessed to have that instilled in me, because this was before the time of Instagram. Like, I think Instagram came out when I was 17 or 16. Like, at least I had an Instagram when I was 16, but it was not what it is today's standards that it has on people and kids, young dancers. I think it's crazy growing up with social media, because it's like we're almost our own celebrities. So what you put on your Instagram is what a lot of artistic directors and dance directors look for, and they look at that first as your CV or as your resume. And I think it can be good, but it also is kind of bizarre when you've grown up without that, and you've grown up with, hey, I'm gonna go, it's about making connections, it's about meeting people, it's about working hard and going to auditions. Like, I was auditioning all the time, and if there's any advice that I have for dancers, it's definitely do not audition, but rather invest so much time in like summer intensives and finances on like a school or an actual program or in the dance world that's connected to a company, because that's going to give you full-time training. So, and like going to auditions, yeah, sure, it might happen that you get into a company, but the thing is, you're going to be wasting so much money and time and effort just going to these auditions, especially in the US. Like, they do it all the time. They like squeeze money out of people, you know, at these cattle call auditions when they don't even have contracts available some of the time. And personally, in my opinion, I think it's best to just really invest your time, efforts, and energy into solely dancing for yourself and finding out what works for you. So for example, what really works for me is doing these tours during the winter time, being a ballerina by winter, and in the summertime being a student by summer. So I now am working and living in Paris and able to live off of the money and pay rent because I dance and do these tours and perform and freelance. And I find freelancing works for me rather than working in a ballet company specifically, just because I'm able to dance and perform a lot more soloist roles, and I really like that because I love to dance, I love to perform, and that's the best way to do it for me because I love that, and I love traveling during the winter time. I also, when I need finances or extra money, I pet sit or dog sit and dog walk. So that's kind of my advice. And also, if you don't want to pet sit or dog walk, you can also babysit or, you know, help out in language programs. There's so many, Be My Nunu, Babylongs. There's so many companies that you can work with here in France, in Paris specifically, that are great agencies to work with. If you want to start doing that I worked with, and I know, hey, this is a great opportunity to kind of just make some money on the side, and it fits into your schedule and your hours if you're a creative like me who has a whole other world that they're a part of and not so little time and 24 hours to get things done. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this. It's pretty crazy, but you know, there is, like, let me just say, like, I'm a broke bee, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not buying all this incredible stuff, living off my dreams, you know what I mean? Like, there was times when I had to hustle. You know what I mean? Like, I was like begging people for a job. Like, when I moved to Paris 4 years ago, okay? And I was living in France, right? Not Paris. I was living in France 4 years ago, and for another job, which was absolutely incredible, the most magical time of my life, and that was great. Like, I moved all the way from little tiny town in Colorado to France. This is cool, you know? I was so excited. But then I decided to be go full-time freelance as a ballerina, you know what I mean? Like, in the dance world in Paris. And then I moved to Paris, and I was living in hostels, okay? I was begging people. I was like, I'm a broke bee. Broke bitch! I used to live above a cafe, and I would beg this man for a job. I'd be like, please give me a job. And then, like, I had crazy stuff happen to me, and he would probably thought I was like the weirdest person and like didn't want to give me a job. And I was like, are you hiring? Every morning, like, I'd walk past this man and be like, are you hiring? And he's like, no, probably because he didn't want to hire me. But, you know, I begged, I worked, I hustled. If you want something really bad and you want something done, you have to hustle, you have to grind. And for me, that was finding what works for me specifically. And I found that babysitting, teaching English, or pet sitting worked the best. And so that's what I did for a whole 2 years of my life. I would go back and forth off of tours back to Paris. I lived in hostels at points. I lived in an apartment that literally had asbestos in the walls, yes. And I also lived with other roommates in a hostel for a month. There had been times that I think I had some of my stuff stolen, but you know, this is the thing. I've stolen toilet paper because I couldn't afford toilet paper.
Communism is so over. Like, give your people toilet paper. So
when you're buying your own toilet paper, that is how you know you're financially secure. Must I say, must I admit. So let me tell you, girl, like, I know what it's like. I know, I get it 100%. There were times when I was doing this 2 years straight. So that's all I'm gonna say is, like, everything that you want that is incredible is hard work, but you can do it. You can do anything. And I'm just sharing my testimony because I know a lot of people probably are curious about that. And what is this? I look like a ant.
In my arms like that, I don't think.
Even have antennas. Sorry. Putting on glasses, it would make me look more intellectual, but I think it just makes me look a little bit like a Tim Burton character. I don't know. Flash forward to now, I am living in a apartment with my baby, and I'm working towards financial security, and I think I'm just in an era of, I don't know, maybe I'm like in an era of solitude.
Solitude? Just fancy loneliness.
But, you know, it's just like me, my cat, and Jesus. But I kind of like that. You know what I'm saying? That's all I need. So anyways, we're just here. We've been through a lot, Presley and I, right, Presley? And he knows how much I've hustled to provide for not only myself, but also him, being my son. So I know what it's like to get out there and want something, and you have to grab it by the reins and just never let go. So with that being said, you can do it. You can do anything that you put your heart to. And yes, being a dancer sometimes is absolutely the most crazy experience, and you'll be like scraping for anything. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to do anything else. It's the most beautiful blessing in my life to be able to do what I do every day, and to be around other people who share the same light and have the same light on stage, and it's a beautiful experience. I don't know how to explain it. It's my sunshine. So yeah, I'm happy to do what I do every day. Praise God for that. But yeah, 2 years of my life I spent doing this, and yeah, now how I make a living, it's a lot easier because I did those things. But you know, in the beginning, girl, that was crazy times. I have a secure place to live, an apartment that I'm actually staying in, and a home.
I mean, a home, a memory home.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at Presley. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just really wanted to share a little insight on how I make that side hustle as a dancer in Paris. It wasn't easy in the beginning, but now I definitely wouldn't trade it for the world. I love working. I love being out there. I love being busy. And I think that's my motto: booked, blessed, and busy. If you're busy, that just means that, you know, you're a hard worker, and I never take work for granted at all. You know, I'd rather be working and sweating and busy and my day just completely booked and, you know, not have that. So, and also too, at the end of the day, I like to feel worked. I don't know, is that just me? I just love to feel worked. I love to feel, it makes me more energized for the next day. And yeah, with that being said, you can do anything that you put your heart's desires to. Presley's leaving the video, so I am gonna end it on that note. Much love. Oh, he's back. I look like a crazy person. I am, but you know, I don't want to look crazy. Do we look like that picture of Cher with the cat where she's like, no? Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you later.
Every story has an end. But in life, every ending is just a new beginning.
And I can definitely say this. Life is never boring. If you're bored, I don't think you've ever lived.